Good morning. Yesterday we learned that if a person forgot to add Ya'aleh v'Yavo in Amidah during Hol HaMoed, they have to repeat the Tefillah. There are no difference between Shaharit, Minha, and Arvit. Today we will learn about a person that forgot to say Ya'aleh v'Yavo in Birkat HaMazon. What happens now? So we have to know that the rule says the following. Whenever Hachamim established an obligation, that obligation is actually saying that we have to do what we have to do properly. Meaning, if we have to pray Shaharit, a person cannot choose to not pray Shaharit. He has to. If he's well, he feels well, there is no something that prevents him from doing so, he has to pray Shaharit. So therefore, he has to say Ya'aleh v'Yavo as well. And if he forgot to say Ya'aleh v'Yavo, he has to repeat the Tefillah. In Birkat HaMazon, when Hachamim actually told a person, oh, go now and do Birkat HaMazon? No. Birkat HaMazon is coming as a result of eating. So only if Hachamim now obligates a person to eat, then as a result of that, he has to do Birkat HaMazon, then we might say, yes, then we would say, yes, so now you have to do Birkat HaMazon, and you have to do it properly because you had to eat, and now you have to do Birkat HaMazon. Make sure it's properly. You forgot, repeat it. So now we look back, we concentrate and we think, is there a time throughout the year that we have to eat? The answer is yes, and there are difference between men and women. So for men, and also there is difference between Eretz Israel, in the land of Israel, to here, because here we celebrate 2 days. Let's follow the land of Israel first. So in the land of Israel, the men are obligated to eat twice a year. Only 2 meals a year, 2 times a year. Hachamim tell them you have to sit down and eat kazait bread, the first night of Sukkot and the first night of Pesach. Now when we go to women are obligated only 1 night a year, which is the first night of Pesach. Why? Because the first night of Sukkot, they're not obligated in the Sukkah. So therefore, they don't have to eat in the Sukkah, and they don't have to eat the kazait bread in the Sukkah. So we find them having to eat only once a year. And this is in the land of Israel. So outside of Israel, it's 2 times a year for ladies, because it's first 2 nights of Pesach. And for men, it's 4 times a year, because the first 2 nights of Pesach, and then the first 2 nights of Sukkot. So we asked ourselves a question before. Is there a time that Hachamim told a person sit down and eat, and as a result of that he has to do Birkat HaMazon, and then because then he has to say Ya'aleh v'Yavo, he has to do it properly? Oh, you didn't do it? Now you have to go back. So the answer, now we know that yes, and if we're talking practically here outside of Eretz Israel, for men 4 times a year, for ladies 2 times a year, as we just learned, and that is already telling us that if a person forgot, if a man forgot the first 2 nights of Pesach to add Ya'aleh v'Yavo in Birkat HaMazon, then he has to repeat Birkat HaMazon. Same thing for the first 2 nights of Sukkot. And if a lady forgot the first 2 nights of Pesach to add Ya'aleh v'Yavo, then she has to repeat Birkat HaMazon. And Sukkot, she's not obligated in the Sukkah, so we said that she doesn't have to. So if a person asks you, now you remember for life, if a person forgot Ya'aleh v'Yavo in Birkat HaMazon, has to repeat or not? What do you answer? For ladies, twice a year. For men, only 4 times a year. The rest of the year, he's not obligated to eat, and he does Birkat HaMazon only as a result of him wanting to eat for himself, and therefore there was no established takana, decree for him to eat, and therefore he doesn't repeat throughout the year any other Birkat HaMazon besides those 4 or 2 special nights that we mentioned. They don't repeat Birkat HaMazon if they forgot Ya'aleh v'Yavo.